OMG. Alright, cool. Hi guys, welcome to the first episode of the Khana Prep podcast. I am Masood, and I'm joined with... Introduce yourself, bro.
Okay, my name is MOHSIN, right? And your name is?
My name is ANNISSA.
That's good. And you two are husband and wife and friends and best friends and...
Jungle introduction.
Yeah, standard, bro. No, so basically, this is just an introductory podcast. Obviously, we're just gonna get to know everyone. This is the first time we're trying to do this on a more consistent, regular basis. Inshallah, you can hopefully expect to see an episode probably once a week.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see how it
That's
goes.
the plan.
That's the plan,
That's
isn't
the
it?
plan.
Once a week.
Twice a week, 3 times a week, every day after Fajr. We'll see how it goes.
You didn't get what you what? No, astaghfirullah, let's cut that out. You know what I mean? Cut that out. You know what I mean? No, but it's good. We're intending to do this on a more consistent basis. Obviously, we want to get more people on, understand, fitness, lifestyle, entrepreneurship, how people take, if people can benefit from one another. I think is definitely needed, especially just people want to know our story in general as well, like how we came about and how we started working together. Because I think each of our individual stories is, I've said it to you guys in private before, I think it is inspirational in their own right, especially your guys' story, mashallah. I mean, once we do get the opportunity to do like a full deep breakdown, that's what I said when I came to your guys' house. Like the other day, like last week, couple of weeks ago.
Uninvited, but yeah, go on, continue.
No, it was invited, bro. You said come around, please, innit? You know what I mean?
Please, okay.
Please let me come.
So I came around and I was like, when I asked you that question about how you guys started, and I was fully like trying to not ask any more questions because I was like, bro, let's leave it for the podcast.
This is why,
This is why. And you're like, no, we're gonna carry on. You look, keep on going, bro. Kept on going. I'm like, bro.
Let's not make this about ourselves. We need to make the story about you as well.
No, it'll come.
I don't like you talking about myself, you know that.
Well, we don't give the podcast. I don't
Straight up.
know. First of all, why are you in your dad's suit? No, honestly, why? Was that the dress code that you didn't tell me about? Like when they turn up all smart and that.
No. I just I like to wear certain clothing for certain reasons. It keeps me organized, disciplined. When I wear a blazer, it's not for anybody else. It's for me that I know I need to be focused, thinking. It's a mindset thing more than anything else.
Yeah. And
I can ask you why you're wearing your granddad's trousers.
Long sleeve.
Was it inherited?
No, it's not. Let's not talk about inherited clothing because you got one blazer that is passed down from 1947, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, no. Anissa, how you been?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm very nervous.
Why are you nervous?
Stage fright without the stage.
Why are you such
It's the first time
nervous?
I'm actually being on camera, being recorded. You guys have got lots of experience under your belts, but not me. But
why have you always been why have you always been shy? But why do you think that is? Like, is it because you're not like?
I don't know. I have generally just always been an introvert, like from a very young age. I've just never really liked being the center of attention, which is the complete opposite of Masood. He loves being the absolute center of his attention. I'm quite happy being behind the scenes as I have been all this time.
No, I am the same. Contrary to popular belief,
you live your entire life.
No, wallahi, I swear to God, I swear to God, I you know why I've been on camera for most time. I remember when I started doing film when I was 15, and then I was working in a film production agency, and I used to tell people I always liked being the director, but the people I was working with didn't get what I was trying to say, so I used to act it out on camera, and I just got used to doing it over and over again. And I just I didn't want to be on camera. I just wanted to be behind the scenes, and then naturally just got into.
I've always struggled to be in front of cameras.
Yeah, you were really bad.
Your
hands used to sweat.
I'm still sweating. Right now, I'm sitting in my hands. I can feel the stickiness on my hands.
The clamminess coming out.
I've always struggled. To be honest, I've always struggled in front of a large crowd. Some would say it's anxiety, but I've always struggled in front of more than 15, 20 people, 10 people in an environment. I feel like I can hear my heart beating in my ears.
But you're quite good at public speaking, so where does that come from?
I don't think my public speaking has been great. I think it's probably started in the last 3 months.
Really?
3 months, 4 months.
But you've been public speaking for time though.
Yeah, not very well at all. And it's caused me a lot of issues. But the last 3-4 months, I think it's helped me by, obviously we've got, Sufyan sitting here in the back cameras. He's been helping us with the camera as well. So it's giving me a bit more confidence talking. It gives me time to prepare. But still in front of people, it causes me issues.
Why?
I don't know. It's just I'm just not a natural public speaker.
Are you scared of making mistakes?
Oh, I mean, who isn't afraid of making mistakes? But I think it's more to do with sometimes you make mistakes that have. I mean, you see the background I come from is the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's an Islamic field, right? Studying Islamic sciences, and in there we've always been ingrained by our teachers to be very accurate in what we speak. To either talk something that's of sense or don't talk. There's no such thing as just talking for the sake of talking, and obviously that's never encouraged, just to talk complete nonsense all the time. So that also plays a part in making sure we talk, it holds value. And I don't like to talk if I'm going to say something knowing that it doesn't hold value or it's of no importance to anybody. And that's something that kind of has always been in the back of my mind, that when I talk to somebody or talking to, like even right now, I know the podcast is supposed to be something a bit relaxed, chilled out. In the back of my mind is like, I need to think about when I'm talking, it's holding weight. I'm not just saying things for the sake of saying things. Yeah, that's kind of been the reason.
That makes sense, man. I used to be like that. I used to always think about what people were going to say. Then I went through a phase that I just didn't care. I still generally don't care what people
Do
say.
you still get like the odd comment that
Of what?
puts you down? I don't know.
What, online?
Yeah, online.
Yeah, like man's always assassinating your character online. That's part and parcel of being online, unfortunately.
That's not my worst nightmare.
No, but it's gonna happen, bro. And they say you buckle your seatbelt up, bro.
I'm just gonna drop this in for the sake of relevance about getting comments online, and I'm assuming the listeners are gonna hear.
I'm gonna say Islamic fatwa right now.
It's not even Islamic fatwa. In the last week, obviously, we know it was anti-bullying week.
Oh, is it?
And obviously part of bullying is cyberbullying. And obviously cyberbullying you just mentioned online, it just came to my mind that these comments that people make online about other people, it causes a lot of mental health issues for people. I think I just want to make that just for the point of relevance, especially since it was anti-bullying week last week. I think it was this week. What was it this week?
It was last week.
Yeah, last week. And I think we all individuals need to be very sensible and careful about how we comment to people online. Are we saying something that's going to make that person feel? I know everybody just types and people say, well, if you're online, you open yourself up for abuse and criticism all day long. I don't think that's true. I think people can choose to write things in an appropriate way. If you don't like what something says, don't say it. You don't have to say you don't like something and then swear at that person and give them death threats and all these type of things. I think that's quite severe.
Yeah, I think unfortunately that's just how people are, and that people just like taking the mick. You know what I mean? People just like being there's a notion on TikTok especially, and I think generally across social media, of this top comment complex. It's basically like, I want to say a witty smart, creative, poke fun out of thing. So I can get more likes on my comment and be top comment. So like when you click on the video that's got like 1 million views and you see the top comment being something funny, witty, whatever, it gives that person clout, it gives that person recognition. So that's why I think everyone that comments on a video doing well, or like a video anyways, is striving to be part of that top comment complex. Of like, I just want to say something, even if it's so stupid and ridiculous, just to be top comment. It's just that insecurity that I think people have. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I've done it a few times. You know what I mean? Guilty of it. But no. But I haven't said anything bad though. No. I know I brought someone down in it. I've always just tried to be witty. I'm not really a witty person, and you know what I mean. But I've tried to say something witty, and it just doesn't work. But for me, no,
I agree with that. I do agree with. I think wittiness is. I think everything has boundaries, isn't it? I think I'm more referring to people actually bullying people online, saying things about their, appearance, saying things about personal matters, calling them out on certain issues, inboxing them with all these things, and especially with everybody. I mean, especially Instagram, because Instagram is all about showing the perfect life aesthetics.
Yeah.
And then you say, you'll know this in terms of, when it comes to females especially, and I think that's why girls. I don't know. You probably can explain better. Better on this, but girls have this issue when it comes to physical appearance and how they need to look online, and how that effects comes through filters through Instagram. What do you think?
No, yeah, generally I think it's just a general, the standard is just so unattainable for most young girls, most women, that they see all like you just said, the perfect life on Instagram. That's why I think sometimes some types of social media are better for that. So it's not so much focused on the aesthetics of how everything looks. It's more about other matters. That's my personal opinion.
No, definitely.
No, it's good.
But Masood, you tell me, since we're on a Khana Prep podcast and we've talked about everything but Khana Prep. No, I'm joking. It doesn't actually matter.
No, I was gonna get into that, like the next part of how we've kind of come about.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna ask you, Masood. So, I mean, it's a funny story. I think the listeners are like, how is you got Masood sitting here?
Such an eclectic bunch.
Yeah, you got obviously you got myself.
Such a diverse range of personalities.
And then you got ANNISSA sitting here as how do these guys come together? So
yeah. So do you guys want to hear off like how I think it all started like. Do you want to go from right at the beginning, or do you just want to summarize the?
Why don't you talk about how you guys first met? Because I think that's.
I want to say this one.
I'll say my. Go on.
You say your perspective. I'll say my perspective first. Unscripted. Let's go.
Well, we met in the train station.
The beginning of most love stories.
Yeah. No love, man.
Nah, brotherly love. No.
Don't want anybody getting in the wrong opinion as well. But
no, we met at a train station. We met at Slough train station.
Slough train station. Right?
Yeah. I was going to uni.
Platform 5 to be exact.
Platform 5, exactly. You know exactly the platform, bro. The back entrance, isn't it? You know what I mean? No, so we met.
Picks them up and pick me up on the back station.
Yeah.
Rap, slap.
Yeah, no, we went there. I was going to the train to university. I was 18 years old. I was 18. And Mohsin was there in his full white jubba with his bag of books. And I was, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, because I've known Mohsin for a number of years. We went to the same mosque. We've grown up basically. Like you were from Slough, you go to every mosque, you know the same people and you see the same faces. You're familiar with people. So I was familiar with Mohsin. I didn't know him personally at that time, but I was familiar with him. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw you, I thought you wanted to avoid you, bro. No, you're talking about you're introverted. I was proper introverted. I did not want to speak to anyone, and I was like,
I don't think you're the only one that was avoiding me, by the way.
Fair enough. Yeah. A lot more people, you know what I mean? There are good reasons there. What? No, I'm joking. No, so I just wanted to be left alone. Obviously, like we were the only two people on the platform, so naturally it would be awkward if you didn't speak. So we started speaking. And yeah, we just had a very brief conversation in the train, got off at Paddington and chipped, went our separate ways. And that was it. That was the first meeting in terms of, was that similar?
Yeah, it was similar. I mean, so I remember that day very vividly actually. At the time I was actually, my jubba and my big bag that I used to have with me, I was actually studying at, I think I made reference to it, I was actually studying at the time at Ibrahim College. I was studying my Islamic scholarship program at Ibrahim College, and it was 6 very long years. And I remember that time we met.
How old were you at the time?
Oh,
when we met, like 23, innit? You're 22 or something, 23, 22.
You started in college when you were 21, so.
Yeah. Wait, I'm not that much older. You're not that much older than me now. You're still in your 20s, isn't it?
Yeah, somewhere in man. Come on, I think I'm like around about 20 that day.
No, you were like, I was 18. You must have been 21.
There's about 3 or 4 year gap between us. So
yeah,
I think I was going to study there, and I met you, and I was quite. I think at the time you were studying in a creative school.
I went art school.
Art school, that's it. And I saw potential then. I saw this guy's, and at the time obviously obviously running a charity organization and stuff like that. And when I heard the word art school and I heard the word media, I'm like, this is the guy. We need something media related. Now Sufyan's saying here, thinking I'm the man. I'm the creative guy here, mate. What are you talking about?
I was the first one, bro.
This is 3-4 years ago, but no, 5 years ago I think it was. And I remember having the discussion with you about can you record content, can you make stuff like that. And I think after that, at the back of that conversation, I took your number down as well, and I think I called you down to one of the events as well to record it, which you fully flopped. But
which one was this?
Yeah, that event was a flop. That event was a flop. I
remember you did. The camera
didn't have stop
I
recording.
think actually you really remember this.
The camera stopped recording halfway through, and I only clocked after the event finished. Yeah, I was like, Mohsin only recorded 5 minutes of it, bro. It was an hour lecture.
But no, alhamdulillah, so that was our first meet. But I think before then, I've known Masood's dad for a very long time. Masood's dad is very well known in the community. He's a great man. Was always been into his fitness. He's been playing football. I think he's still better than Masood in football right now.
Well, he is.
But that's a different conversation.
It's not hard to be better than football than me, bro.
But Masood's dad, I've known him for many years. You've seen him in the masjid. He's always been very health conscious. Yeah. Very fit. I think he's probably more regular than most people in the gym, and he's playing football. He's always that loud person in the gym. Come back, run back in the defense. So he was really good. I remember playing Sunday football with him as well, playing Friday footballs with him as well. And I remember you guys meeting you there as well.
Yeah.
So I remember that for a long, long time. So I've known your dad. I think I've known your dad before I knew you.
We initially met in the train station, but
Yeah.
we did a media project that didn't go well. But yeah, Anissa, what was your first perception of me, like when you first met me? I'm assuming it's not the best.
No. I was just a bit. I think the first time it was probably again one of the charity events.
Yeah, there was an event, yeah.
One of the events, and you're like, oh, so I've got this brother who's gonna, he's really, really good at recording and content and social media, this, that. He proper hyped you up, And I was like, okay. And then you come along, and I'm not gonna lie, you looked a lot younger than you actually were. I'm like, oh, is it his older brother or something? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
baby face.
yeah, no, but didn't really have much. I don't think it'd be as much as part of our lives as you are now, obviously, at that age, because I thought, okay, yeah, whatever, just recording an event here and there, but.
I think that's one of my problems. I think I like networking with people. I like meeting new people.
What's that problem?
No, I think I like networking with people. That's one thing I do enjoy doing. I do enjoy networking with people, seeing talent. And at the time, running a charity Islamic organization or charity organization, it's always very difficult to find talent, especially when everything is running on a voluntary basis. So you're always looking for people who can contribute their skill sets, contribute what they can do. And when I saw that Masood's going to art school, I'm like, you know what, he's and we've been having recent discussions about doing content for that type of project as well. So yeah, that was I think the first.
That's how we first met. How we first started doing business. We actually had a different business that we worked on before Khana Prep or Khana Shon or whatever. It was selling vintage clothes. Do you remember that one? Sold vintage clothes. Went all the way to Ipswich with a suitcase, and went to like a vintage reselling event. Yeah, bought all the clothes that we could for like £300. Yeah. And mind you, context where we were all broke at this time, very, very broke at this time, and we scrapped up £300. It was me, you, and another brother that were doing it, and then that business only lasted like a week.
We got it in like 3 days.
Yeah, and then I was like, bro.
Is that the time where the entire living room was just covered? Yeah. Oh my god. Okay,
yeah.
But yeah, it was. I mean, I think that was the first spell. It lasted 3-4 days.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it was really a business run. I think it was just one of those sporadic, random
impulsive decisions.
Moments, yeah. But
the first, like when I first worked with Mohsin, I was like, bro, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna get along with this guy, bro. I was like,
why?
Because Mohsin, mashallah, like now like we work well together. I'd like to think like all three of us we work well together. But I think at the time I was going through that transition phase where I don't think I really knew myself, and I didn't know my boundaries. So before Mohsin would be like, yeah, we'll do this, and I was like, I didn't really know how to say no. I didn't really know how to like communicate my point of view. And so I think I took on more responsibility than I wanted to without being comfortable of saying, you know what, I don't think we should do this. I think we should do this instead. And I think that really played on my mental a little bit. So I think the most part of why that business lasted 3-4 days was because I was like, bro, I'm doing all this thing and I want to communicate one thing, but I don't know how to. So I think it was in myself that I was just like, bit off more than what I could chew at the time.
So you need to like personally develop a little bit more.
Yeah. So I mean, I only start figuring out who I was when I was like 24, 25. And I was like...
I'll admit I'm a tough person.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, it's...
You're ruthless, bro.
Not anymore. Come on.
No, you still, at times,
I'm
you
joking.
are still. But it's needed sometimes in
I think
business.
I've gone through that transition over the years myself as well, to be honest. You know, when you're young, when you're young, you feel like you know everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of... Again,
Jack the lad in that.
To go on a little tangent, you know, our teachers would always say that, you know, knowledge, or this was in context to Islamic knowledge, but I think this can be extended over to any types of knowledge personally. But obviously, when the context was in Islamic knowledge, our teachers would always say that when you start knowledge, when you start something, learning something, you go through a stage of arrogance where you think you know something with the little you have. It's like a tree that has no leaves and it's like, you know, really like stiff and coarse, you know, it just stands up, but it's got nothing on it. And then you go through a stage where you start to learn something, and it starts to make you very humble. And that's the example of like a tree, you know, when it has fruit on it. Now that it has something to show or give, the tree actually weighs down and it actually droops down. And I think everybody goes through that transition from a position of arrogance or think they know something to a stage of humility or humbleness over some time. Now, it's just how quickly you do that. It's just something that the quicker you realize that actually, I don't actually know anything, that's when you start to realize, actually, no, I need to step down, I need to learn, and that's when your biggest learning curve comes.
Yeah.
And in my early years,
I think that just comes through like time and experience, really. Like you just develop a little bit more emotional intelligence, where you can just
yeah, that's right.
you can sort of decipher what you can basically read the room.
And I want
a bit
to,
more.
and you're
Well,
right.
you were really bad at reading the room.
Very bad. No, I was really bad. And you know, I say that, and one of the biggest things is accepting your mistakes. You know, and then some of the listeners who are probably seeing this are probably listening, you know what, this Mohsin guy, I'm going to punch him in his face. They're probably listening to this right now. I think you ever had this experience with him. But I think that experience has taught me so much.
Just for context, can you give a example conversation to people listening how you were when you were younger? Like a couple of years ago. So if I said, I think the color should be blue. No, it shouldn't be blue. It should be this.
No, I think it was more to do with the fact that, as in, if I had a point to make that I thought was correct,
You would make it regardless.
I'd make sure that point is made very clear. That point is, and this is the conversation.
Crystal clear, bro.
But remember that point that we had, conversation we literally had last night when we were
Yeah.
sitting there reading that little book, and I was just reading. It's when you go through that point when you realize, okay, if I'm making a point, it's going to benefit the person. Do I really need to start my point on this particular thing? How is it going to benefit? If it's not going to benefit, it's best to stay quiet.
And when you were younger, you felt like you just wanted to give an opinion.
At no cost.
At no cost.
At no cost.
Yeah, no cost. It was just like, this is
ruthless.
this is not on. But alhamdulillah, you know, you live to learn, isn't it? So now I think I can sit in a conversation where I'm told that I'm wrong or we're not going to do a certain thing, and I'm happy to be like, yeah, that's fine. You know, let's get cracking. And that's helped me build some of the relationships that I broke up in the previous years, to actually build them relationships back up and go back to the same people and give them an opportunity to reassess me. And I'm grateful for people who give me that ability to reassess me.
So a lot of people give the second chance.
I think even we've had that relationship, you know, where we've had, in the early days, it was like, and then we've had that discussion, and you've come back and said to me, look, actually, you know, I think our relationship is very different now for X, Y, and Z reasons.
Yeah.
I think that's very, very important.
We've gone through a rocky patch when these first started.
Yeah.
Even working with Khana Prep, it was quite rocky in the beginning in terms of personality clashes a lot.
Definitely.
I like to think I'm a very straight up individual. I still am. Like, I don't mince my words. But you pair that with MOHSIN, who doesn't mince his words either. And ANNISSA doesn't mince her words either.
ANNISSA definitely doesn't mince her words.
Definitely. When she needs to say something, she'll let you know, bro. You know what I mean? But no, I think that's why I think it was a teething phase that probably lasted a year and a bit about getting to know each other.
No, but I think that's just in any sort of dynamic, you just have to learn how to work with other people.
Yeah.
You know,
Syncing, isn't it? It's like,
I had to sync.
I'm going to make a techie joke now, yeah? I'm going to make a techie joke, and you can continue with that point. The techie point here is, you know, like when you sync, so if you tell me if this is right, you know, when you sync your mic to your camera and stuff like that, it takes a time where
to sync the audio
and stuff like that. I think when different people work together, this is why team building activities are so important. I think it allows everybody to sync and understand, you know, why we're doing.
No, you can even extend that to sort of family relationships. When, you know, you're in a relationship, or, you know, you meet someone new or whatever, it's making a friend, it's, you know, syncing your thoughts and your feelings and how to communicate with that person. Because everybody has different languages, so to speak, you know, like how they prefer to communicate. It's just take a bit of time. And if you can get over that sort of teething phase, like you just mentioned, then, you know, it's kind of...
A lot of people give up. I think a lot of just... From my own personal experience and the people that I worked with, and I was very straight up with everyone, like, and I think that's why a lot of people, we have a teething phase. A lot of people drop off from that teething phase. They're not, oh, this mate is just like whatever. I don't want to work with him. They just give up on that. I think the beauty of our relationship is that we just stuck through it regardless. Like I definitely wasn't going to give up. There were times I did feel like if I was like, bro, I don't really have a choice to give up or not. So I stayed on, and obviously you guys weren't going to give up because obviously you invested a lot into it. So I think that's why it worked, because we just didn't have the option of giving up. Like that wasn't even on the table of giving up.
For sure.
So I think that's why when we started Khana Prep or Khana Shana, it was initially Khana Shana, not really like a business really. We tested out a cooking idea. Do you want to go into how we started?
But just before that, I just want to add one point that you mentioned there. I think about the teething issue, I think it's also a compromise. And I think, again, this goes for business relationships. This goes for, like ANNISSA mentioned, family relationships. This goes for even a parent-child relationship. This also goes for both ways.
Friendships.
Yeah. I think if everybody has the mentality or the mindset, which is, do you know what? Can I compromise?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to criticize yourself than it is to criticize other people. If everybody decides, look, how can I make this relationship better? I think you make strides a lot faster.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like, oh, if she did this, then it would be better. Oh, he did this, it would be better. It'd be, okay, what can I do to make it better?
And I think that was my biggest learning point in life.
Accountability, innit? Accountability.
Whenever I'm in a relationship and somebody says to me, there's a problem, I straight away ask myself the question, okay, there's a problem here. How can I be part of that solution? I was telling my students this. I teach on the weekends, and I was telling one of my students that, a lot of students talk about the breakdown relationship between themselves and parents. And I said to them, look, you can sit here complaining about your parents, or you can look at it from the perspective, which is, how can you be part of the solution? If your parent is not talking to you in a certain way, or they're not complimenting you, or they're not giving you the right gratification, or they're not doing X, Y, and Z, what can you do to fix that problem? It's very easy to say, Masood, if you did this, this would happen. And Nisa, if you did this, would happen. But if I say if Mohsin did this, this would cause, and you said Masood would do this, and Nisa does, I think you reach the middle of the table really quickly.
I think that's why a lot of people hesitate to take that step, because they don't want to be accountable.
Yeah, 100%.
They don't want to be accountable, and they feel like it'll discredit them to what they're saying to take a step back. I think a lot of people have that. So I mean, just to fast forward onto like how we started Khana Prep, or like Khana Shana, what is now Khana Prep. Long story short, it was a very inspiring story from the beginning. Like we sat at the golf together, and we.
Do you want to clarify what that is for people that
At the
know?
golf.
Yeah, I mean, itikaf is obviously Ramadan, isn't it? Ramadan, last 10 days it's an opportunity for people to spiritually separate themselves from the world, to give them some time to you stay in the masjid for 10 days. You're not allowed to go out the masjid, but the main is it's the time for you to spiritually elevate yourself. Remove yourself away from same worldly distractions, and sit there and just reflect on your life, reflect on how to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so we met in itikaf.
We got closer in itikaf.
You came into the itikaf with a full mattress.
Yeah, what's wrong? I'm not sleeping, bro. I can't sleep. I can't sleep on the floor.
I'm pretty sure I saw a truck outside in a DMS.
No, it wasn't a truck. It wasn't a truck. It was a small mattress, foldable mattress. Bro, that was comfy, man. I can't sleep on the floor, man. It's too uncomfortable.
Everybody's coming in with like blankets.
Yeah, I know.
Masood's coming in with a mattress.
I can't sleep on the floor, bro. I can't do it, man. It hurts my back. There's people that just sleep on the floor. I'm like, how would you do it, bro?
Of course not. Just joking.
But yeah, no. We were at that.
Is this sorry, just to interject? Is this itikaf that Masood is trying his weird food combinations that you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing that, bro.
Masood is I don't know if I'll mention this, like it can't prep any food, but people.
No, actually, you know what I'm saying.
He'll have pakora with soya. You literally dip pakora and soya. I'm like, how your stomach is probably seeking forgiveness. It's like, what is this?
Yeah, no, my food combinations are mad. Even yesterday, we were having some mad food combinations. What were we having?
I don't know.
No, when I had like noodles with like the sauce and.
I don't know, but you were having that. I was having that.
That's how Khana Prep started, bro. No, I'm joking. We met in itikaf. We were sitting in itikaf for a number of years. We met the third time doing itikaf. That was the third year I was sitting it consecutively. And that was like a couple of years ago in 2019, I believe. I remember that itikaf going into it. I was like, the personal time I was in my life. Like I've started doing business since I was 17 years old. Done like every business that I could think of, any business. Like and I wasn't afraid to try a new thing. And I was trying a lot of different things in my life at the time. And at that moment in time, I was so fed up. I was like, bro, nothing's working, bro. I was like, bun this is dead. And I remember I was like, I'm gonna sit at the golf. And inshallah, Allah gives me a direction to, what I want to do. If it is getting a 9 to 5, well, I get 9 to 5. And if being a businessman is not written for me, I'll get it. And then I just said, I just wanted to go into that itikaf with a pure heart and be like, wherever Allah can guide me towards, I'm ready for it.
So you stepped into that itikaf just blind, basically. Hoping that Allah will guide you in some direction.
Yeah, just give me some sort of clarification what I wanted. You know what I mean? Generally, that was the reason.
And I think I'm not taking the mic from you, but I just want to add a point just there very quickly, which is very powerful for us and even the listeners, which is that sometimes you can go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask him for something, even if you have no direction. You can go to God and ask him for direction when you don't have direction. Yeah. I think that's the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, I didn't have a direction. Legit, I was like, from 17, I started a clothing business. I did a filmmaking business, like freelance. I did a vending machine business. I worked loads of jobs trying to understand what I wanted to do. Worked in, funny enough, food. Most of my jobs were in food. And I remember every job I quit from a food business, I was like, bro, I'm never doing a food business, bro. Funny enough, but like, I was like thinking to myself, bro, I'm never doing this business. It's dead, bro. It's so long, so hard work and that. Here we are, bro. Ironically, how the world works and that. But no, I went into that, the golf, like, honestly, pure intentions. I was like, wherever Allah guides me, that'd be great. And back of that at the golf, I started a small pizza business from home, like a small, very small pizza business from home. It was called HQ Pizza. I remember, I don't know if the Instagram is a lot, but I started a very small, tiny operation pizza business. And I was like, I would love to do food because I always loved cooking, like since I was younger. I was like, that's the one thing I didn't do, like a cooking business, but I would love to do it. And then, funny enough, when we went at the golf, one of the days, I think it was like the third or fourth day, Mohsin was like, I was just in the room, in the corner of the room, didn't know this conversation was happening. Mohsin out of nowhere said, you know what, I'd love to get into the food business one day. I was like, what? This is fake, bro. This is fake. This is fake, bro.
I was like,
am I hearing this right? Am I hearing this right? He said, nah, I'd love to get into the food business one day, and explaining why you wanted to do it and everything. So then I remember that conversation, and I thought about it for like a day or two. I was like thinking about it. In the golf, you don't have your phone. You can have your phone, or it's not really recommended. But that at the golf, I didn't take my phone. I left it at home. I left it at home, and I was just thinking about it. 24 hours, just thinking about it. I was thinking about our previous experience that we worked in the vintage clothes. I was like, and I thought about my personal situation at the time. I was like, you know what? Let me just ask him and see what he's saying. And then that's when I pulled you to a side, and then we had that conversation, and that's when we started. The inception of Khana Prep, the very early, it wasn't a Khana Prep, it was a food business, but it wasn't called Khana Prep, it was called Khana. But we were doing cooking food from home. And the whole story of that is a different story. We can do a whole different podcast on that particular, how that, the trials and tribulations of that business. Trials and tribulations, you know what I mean? But no, that's we can do a different podcast on that, but yeah, so that was how it started. From it the golf. From me having the pure intention of Allah guide me to something that, wherever comes through from it. And, inshallah, this is where we're at now, a couple of years in, and inshallah this is the way forward,
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I'm surprised you heard me say I'm interested, because I'm sure even now I mentioned about 50 businesses a day that I'm interested in.
That was the one thing that stuck out. You mentioned I want to get into the food business.
Yeah. So in terms of generally business, I mean, everybody seems to think that I have business ADHD. I mean, if I could, I would start a business every day. Yeah. But obviously that's not possible. But I think when Khana Prep came about, for me personally, it was at a very, very critical time, to be honest. It was a very tough few years in terms of business. Obviously, we knew business ever since we've been married. So that was about 1920. When did you start business? 1920?
We were like 20 years old.
Yeah, basically when we got married. And we started business at a very young age with no business background. Like you said, tried a lot of businesses, and tried and tested a lot of things. And I was at that time in my life where my health was taking a toll.
Yeah.
I was studying full time at my Islamic scholarship. I was also doing work, business, and things just weren't working out. And it took a big physical, it took a toll on me. To be honest, I didn't realize it took a toll on me. It's one day it hit me, my stomach, I had digestion issues. I think for a brief period, the doctor said I had IBS, and this anxiety and X, Y, and Z, whatever the situation was. And I still didn't care. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever it is. Maybe it's just the food, I'm allergic to something. Sometimes when you're in denial, you just kind of give excuses to everything and anything. Or maybe it's the food, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. You just don't want to say to yourself that, it's my fault. So just cracked on with it. And it got to a point where one day I realized that I'm 30 kilos more than where I need to be. Like more than it.
Do you say how much you weighed?
Yeah. Do you know what the response was? What? Do you know what the response was? What everybody says, and I think this is gonna resonate with all the listeners. Is like, I'm bulking. I'm just got big shoulders, or I just got a big back.
Big bone.
I'm just big boned, or the case.
My personal favorite. You're healthy.
Asians say that. You're healthy.
Like sehtmand banda, sehtmand banda.
I don't know what you said, but go on.
Sehtmand, like it's like the guy's a good healthy banda, whatever the case is, right? And I was thinking to myself, like, it got to a point where I looked at myself. Not even physically, just number one, it was mentally and physically how I was feeling. It's like, you buy clothes and you think, oh, my biceps are too big because, it's not your biceps are too big. You got too much weight on your body, mate. That needs to. Yeah. And no one day I came to that realization. I literally was like to myself, do you know what? I'm fat.
Yeah.
And you don't ever want to say that to yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to say that. I mean, it's very hard to wake up one day, look yourself in the mirror, or be like, look, I'm overweight. And you can't admit that to yourself. And that's why sometimes we become accustomed as individuals when we're doing something after 10, 15 years, or after a certain, we become accustomed to it. It's like, this is me, and you justify it in your mind. So I got to that way, and I was at that time when Itikaf, when this discussion, when we had a brief discussion, obviously we discussed the whole business plans after Itikaf, whatnot. But after Itikaf, I realized that actually, do you know what? I need to start eating. I need to start eating healthy. So obviously, I need healthy food. I'm on the trot 7 days a week. I'm working 7 days a week. Me and Anissa are always doing everything together. We don't have the time to really cook. I don't want something that tastes nice. So this was like the Khana prep discussion happened. And then after Itikaf, we said we can organize a meeting and talk about it, inshallah. And I went to Anissa and I was like, just like, this is aside from Khana prep. And I was like, I need to start my fitness. We need to do something about it. And okay, I was like, I tried making food at home, couldn't work, not enough time. And then I think we tried a few meal prep companies, and the food was like I don't like talking bad about businesses, so I'm not going to mention any businesses, and that's just completely against my business ethics. That's not something that I do.
But is the business called? No, I'm joking.
No.
I'm joking.
I was like, this is not working for me. So then connecting that discussion that I had with you independently, and this discussion, because we talked about food business in general, I was thinking, can we do something over here? So then I was like to Anissa, what if we made a meal prep company that
with food that actually tastes
tastes edible, right? Not just edible, that tastes nice. Because I need to lose weight, and if that will work for me, it can work for anybody. Because if it's healthy food, it's within calorie, it's giving you the calories that you need. You know what? This would be perfect.
Yeah.
And then I spoke to Anissa, and she was like, you see the problem with Anissa is, she always says no. Like the answer is
No, she doesn't say that.
Are we gonna do that? No, we're not gonna do that. Well, no, we're doing it. So like now what we do is I make the.
Why do you always say no?
I don't know. It's just like an automatic rejection, and then I think about it, and then I actually tell me more. Then you have to convince me. Like you really have to convince me to. That's a good idea.
It's about living. I think I'm very trigger happy. If I've got an idea and I think it's a solution to something, I'll just go do it.
Yeah.
And I think me and Anissa work really well like that. I create the chaos and she does the cleaning up afterwards. Not literally.
Or the other.
You more like clarify that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, bro? Beer man's feminist coming at you.
They're not literally cleaning. I mean, like, as in I'll go create an idea and I'll put it up in the air and I'll cause chaos in it, and then Anissa will have to come and be like, okay, we need to fix it.
Like organize the idea into
No
actual structurally,
But there's no problem, cleaning your table and that. I'm all good with
You
that.
do that as well, don't you?
Yeah,
You
I
help
do
around the
that. I
house.
do all the time.
Yeah.
Don't act like I don't do
No,
that.
I'm just saving yourself, innit? You know what I mean? Your man's gonna be like, oh, what? This mate's got some next relationship, bro.
No, of course not. Alhamdulillah, we do bits and pieces. So you were saying something,
So I was saying about the. I forgot what I was going to say now.
So, no, but generally speaking.
Oh, no, as an example about me and you.
Yeah.
You're the acceleration, I'm the brakes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just throwing, like if you have a car, you just press accelerate all day long, you're going to smash into the wall. So you need a brake to keep it controlled. So that's one of our advisors said to us that you guys are like I'm the accelerator and she's the brake.
And I'm the steering wheel.
Yeah.
You just added
Change
yourself
lanes, bro. We're change lanes, innit? You know what I mean? You're weaving out traffic in that. No, I'm joking. No, that makes sense.
So that was the discussion that I started. So alhamdulillah, before Khana Rep started, I was over 110 kilos.
Yeah. We were both 110
Yeah, I
kilos.
was over 110 kilos.
We were both 110.
Bulking, isn't it?
Both. I was fat. I was really fat, bro. I looked like a snowman. Wallahi, I got pictures on my phone. I look unrecognizable.
That's true.
I'm still gaining weight. I'm bulking at the moment. No, I mean, I'm
back in the bulking phase.
I'm gonna start losing weight. I'm gonna start losing weight at the end of the year, inshallah. 100%.
No, it's definitely. I mean, look, in terms of again, a lot of people. It's December now.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, do you know what? I need to munch big calories because it's Christmas or coming up, and because all these brands bring out, exclusive desserts and biscuits and stuff like that during this time of the year. Everybody's like, you know what? In the new year, I'm gonna do it. But my recommendation would be.
It is really hard though.
It is really hard to do. It is really hard. But I think my recommendation normally is that eat what you need to eat, but just don't go so overhaul that you've added in another 4 or 5 kilos and like
Yeah.
in like a few weeks, and then you
Man's
come
fully not gonna listen to that, bro.
so it comes in January and it's like, okay, do you know what? I've got another 5 kilos to lose. So I think eat it, but I think with a bit of control, I think is always a good idea.
Yeah.
And discipline is always good. Putting what goes into your mouth, I think is always good.
Darren, Steve, and Margaret listen to this podcast and be like, nah, I've won that, bro. New Year's, we're gonna go all out. You know what I mean? No, I'm joking. But no, that's good, man. That's a good introduction. I think, you know, we've covered most spaces.
I think one or two things I just wanted to mention, though, generally about Khana prep was that I think personally, if Khana prep at the time didn't come about, I think I would have never lost the weight. I think
100%.
For me, before I started the business, I needed a proof of concept.
Yeah.
I needed a proof of concept. So before we actually launched Khana prep, if you remember, we started those meals.
We started meals, yeah.
We started meals, and I was like, remember we had this discussion that if we can document our journey with these meals, what is more of a proof of a concept
than the owners losing
than the owners of the co-founders, you know, losing weight from the very meals. It's not like, you know, and I can show a picture, you know, even the podcast. I don't know, Sophia, if you ever wanted to do that, we can actually show a picture. I can literally put up pictures on my phone of where I was at 110 kilos and where I am now. And majority of that was due to kind of, obviously you have, you know, you do your training and whatnot, but you can never out train a bad diet. No, you can never do that. It's never.
And I think the biggest point here is that you've always been into your fitness, right? Like from the beginning, that you've always been into the gym, doing martial arts, playing football. I'm the complete opposite. I've never had any interest in anything like eating healthy or, you know, fitness or anything like that. Alhamdulillah, I think I've been, you know, let's just say I wasn't 120 kilos either, right? But the biggest factor for me is how good those meals tasted when Masood first started.
Oh, definitely.
Because you tried out those other meal prep companies, and I was like, oh my god, if this is what meal prep tastes like, then I didn't really have any hopes for Masood's meals, right? That Masood came up with. And Masood came up with the meals himself, the ingredients, the way to cook it, and mashallah, it was like the best tasting. I mean, you couldn't even tell it was healthy. That's how.
We're fully not doing a sales pitch right now.
Do you know what is so odd about Masood? Yeah, this guy will cook in the kitchen all day. Then he call me at 8 o'clock. He goes, "Mohsin, come, let me cook. Come cook." I'm like, what do you mean? When this guy gets married, his wife is going to be a very lucky person. You know, I'm just saying. I think he's putting himself out on the market anyways. You know, no, I'm not doing a pitch for Masood to get married, but he has asked me. So just putting it out there, guys. You know, this guy, CV, this guy can cook well.
Can cook very well, yeah.
Yeah, man.
This is put it out there, you know. Let's just, you know, put the feelers out there. You know, this guy can cook really nice now. And honestly, one of the key things, you know, working with Masood has been the guy's love for food, right? You know, me personally, I do business. I have no interest in the business, like not just kind of any business. me and Anissa are very pragmatic business people, right? We just do business for the sake of doing business, right? That's just why we do business, right?
You have a bigger picture in mind.
We do have bigger pictures. I mean, I do business, and I don't know if you want me to mention that we mainly do businesses to support the charity projects that we do, and obviously to support charity projects, you need a good infrastructure. So we do business, and we have other businesses.
So you do have a reason. It's not like you're just doing it willy nilly.
Yeah, no, but as in
We don't.
I don't have I have a passion for Khana prep.
Personal passion.
But personal passion is not my driving force. But I've noticed for Masood, his cooking experience is the driving force. So.
I need to be passionate about the thing there to start a business, because I feel like for me at least, personal experience, with any business you start, whether you like it or you don't like it, there's going to be challenges, and really bad challenges. There's going to be a time, we went through it, and we probably are still going through it at the transitional phase of the business where you know, it's a sticking point. It's now or never, or you know, we need to take that leap of faith, and that's very scary to a lot of people. Especially, I feel like if you're not enjoying what you're doing, the leap of faith may look bigger than what it is. I feel like when you're enjoying what you do, it makes it the leap of faith. Who cares? Just do it, bro. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I've always been the case. Like I need to enjoy. Like I've had a love for, with or without Khana prep. I've always had a love for cooking.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it makes it easier now with Khana prep. I'm experimenting, bro. You see this new menu. We're not doing a sales pitch, by the way, but you see this new menu coming out on January 1st. No, inshallah, we'll come up with the official launch date.
So
but
what are you cooking tonight? You can go to cook something tonight.
Bro, I came out yesterday. we had burgers and chips, but we're not going to mention that, innit?
It was within calories though.
There's cheat day, innit? Cheat day.
No, but generally, I think this is obviously our first podcast, and it's been really, really good.
It's been good, man.
I think
we're
gonna have a lot more coming out. I think Anissa, you're feeling a bit more comfortable.
How do you feel from the start of the podcast to now?
A little bit more comfortable, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, and for me as well, I think it's familiar faces. You know, you have you have a chat about things, and I think in the future podcast we'll be able to talk about
Anything.
anything, and literally anything. I think
Yeah.
it's good fun. I think it's good fun.
That's good fun.
And
And we haven't really, before we even did this first podcast, we've already got people lined up.
yeah, we guests, a lot of guests.
Lined up, bro. Watch what
Lined up.
what you see in the next few episodes, bro. You'll be like, whoa, let me pull these guys
But I
out.
just want to put it out there. This is my personal preference. I have to say this. Yeah, I'm gonna say this.
Go on, say it, bro.
I have to say this.
What are you gonna say?
That obviously we've talked about a lot of things, and obviously it's been unscripted. And naturally, I genuinely say again, this is something our teachers passed on to us. That obviously, if there's anything good that we said, you know, we hope that it's from God and it's accepted. And if you said anything dumb and stupid, and that's looked down on it, it shouldn't look bad. As it's just a misrepresentation because it is an unscripted conversation.
Yeah.
We literally had zero prep, walked straight in. I'm pretty sure we just decided on what to start with while we were in the room.
We had an argument before the camera started rolling. You didn't see that part, bro.
But that's good. No, I think we're good.
No, we're good. I think we wrap it up. I think first introductory podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and see you in the next one. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yep.